Buenos días. Me corresponde intervenir.
Good morning. Now it's my turn to speak, although it was thought for today's afternoon, but anyway, really happy to be here today. And now I would like to talk about the memory of the volunteers of nowadays Spain. However, I will be focusing on the International Brigade's Documentation or Research Center in Albacete. A lot has been said and told about the Spanish Civil War and the International Brigades. We have documents, photographs, of course not all of them, because many archives at the end of the war were destroyed, like the Elva fund, the archive, and the Escobar one. We have monographs, articles, documents. We have the memories of the brigaders and many testimonies of people from the area in Albacete, letters that brigaders had sent to other youngsters in the area with photographs. Many of them actually have been useful to upload them to the SIDBRINT. We also have the cemetery records of the Albacete cemetery, which include around 60 reports of unknown victims, also the hospital records and the official sort of government documents and records, and also graffitis in the Madrigueras church. It was actually used as graffitis, writings done by victims, and also in the homage tower of the Almacha castle, graffitis done by victims being recluded, being sent there, and a few monuments devoted to the honor and homage of these brigaders. Let me show you. Here we can see the great quantity of monuments here in Europe, and especially towards the eastern side coast of Spain. Actually, we have monuments all over the place in many cities. It's quite an interesting factor, because for us it's nice to know all the localization. We have the Madriguera Street in Albacete, for example. We also have a monument which was built up in 1996 when they were given nationality, which is located at the University of Albacete campus. We also have a plaque in Casas Ibáñez, which was installed 2 years ago, very near actually to the Albacete station, where actually these brigaders arrived. This being a really nice memory for all of them. This station doesn't exist anymore. It was moved, its location. When the dictatorship conditions allowed, survivors came back to Spain and were remembering places where they fought, where they lost, places like Jarama, Madrid, University, the area, battle area, Castelldefels in Barcelona, and of course Albacete and its surrounding villages. At the beginning, they did this alone, themselves, or maybe together with their close family members. But now, as they're not here anymore, it's their children or grandchildren who come. They come to the Ebro or the Cedobi, etc. So this actually made us think about making them available, a very easy-to-use tool in a different format, mainly guides. Here in this image, you can see how dispersed all these monuments and places are in the Albacete province. And you see clearly, if we see each of these in detail, and this was the very first study or analysis we did 2 years ago. And from there, we have oral testimonies, the sources from archivers, old photographs, and current photographs. so that we help them make all these visits. They have done the guide, the Madriguera guide, for example, and all this material gives us more and more information. For example, in Almansa, the International Artillery Proletarian Klaus Wecker and Ostrogov, the main leaders of this military group, all these names coming from the archives, the Almansa archive specifically. We also enter all this data in Sitbrand. Richard Pauls, for example, by Skutelki, and these three other names, we don't really have all that information about them. In Barras, Casas Ibáñez, Caudete, Valdeganga, all these villages, Valdeganga in Albacete. Actually, in this village, there was a hospital. It was not actually Valdeganga de Albacete, it was Valdeganga de Cuenca, where the hospital was located. Quintanar de la Villanueva de la Jara, or local properties, where the training center for military leaders was settled. La Cueva, la Dehesa del Presón, Jeff Lass, the errant Dutchman, was there also, and he actually did a few drawings. We've taken some pictures and we've realized that it was indeed that place. It's a very emblematic place, because when Peter arrives in Spain in 1930, a few years ago, many years ago, he looks for a psychiatrist from his Freudian influence. He wrote about it in his books. Peter Bass with Francisco Ubis. For 2-3 years, Francisco Urid actually publishes a trip to the Franco Spain, and also a few drawings, which unfortunately we don't have them anymore. So we carry on our work, and in April this year, the 8th of April, it was the 80th anniversary of the brigaders leaving Albacete, and then we published this information. Actually, it's a guide as an app, because identifying each of the corners of the city of Albacete, which were used by the brigaders, it's almost an impossible mission. This is a first draft, let's say, which has taken us a long time, because the Gaiman report talks about 40 locations, but I am sure that there are many more. Yes, settlements or locations, but we've been able to identify a few of them, like the Guardia Civil settlement, or main office, which actually participated in the revolt, in the upraising, the bullfighting arena, for example, which was used for training purposes, also eating areas or cooking areas, the exhibition center. It was used as an automobile space, really. Also dining areas, kitchens, actually to have people have dormitories there, have people resting there. Then they occupied many little B&Bs, small hotels in Albacete. Let's bear in mind then, and has been, sort of meeting point in the rail network. So this position actually had people staying there overnight to take the next train to the next day, you know. So, however, then some urban states, and especially warehouses and large properties, were seized, the latter belonging to the local bourgeoisie. They were located in town, and actually 369 properties were seized, both in town and in the outskirts. And then Pozo Rubio, which would be the training center for commanders and in order to train troops, and also some other rustic or rural states like La Dehesa del Presón or El Torcillo would be used as hospitals. Inside the city, the sanatorium of Romero and the other existing sanitary dependencies were dependent on the health of the international brigades, and some other buildings were used for premises for logistics or postal station, archives, etc. La Plaza del Altozano in the postal station, the archive for the aviation topics, and many people were accommodated in private dwellings or private houses, sharing a room with families. And apart from brigaders, there was a great number of people who were refugees or had been evacuated or left Madrid, the front of Madrid, and also private spaces or premises were used to repair clothing, vehicles, belts, etc., shoes. The whole city was testimony of 35 brigaders passing by in this small town. Then it had 45,000 inhabitants. So imagine, it's still in everyone's memory. It's a paradox, but testimonies, the graphical testimonies, we don't have them in Albacete. They have been identified to be thanks to survivors or in other archives. And a few images of this episode in history that was hidden because of it was forgotten because of, history, mysteries. Now, in Fuente de las Ranas, one of the most special places in Albacete, or the Altozano, and then we identify something that really struck our attention. It's the photographs done by Touré, with hundreds of children photographed in a gymnastic demonstration in the bull ring of Albacete on the occasion of the commemoration of the first anniversary of the arrival of the brigades. Those kids, they were still alive just a few years, they died a few years ago, but again, this silence caused by fear, because of the weight, the horror of the dictatorship. A few times we've found, for example, a local business called Almacenes, whatever, Valeriano. This child then, who then was 93 when he was interviewed, he would say, I would go there and have the best coffee, but once it was finished, my mom burned all photographs or anything that could put us at risk. So, if we walk around Albacete trying to recreate the presence of brigadists, it's still a very arduous, difficult task because of the tremendous transformation the city had to accommodate and supply those big numbers of brigaders. But oblivion forced by the dictatorship erased memories and evidence. So it seems nothing is still there, but if we still look far beyond, and if we stop and think, we will realize there are still elements there. There is a photograph. It's pity I need to talk very quickly because we're running out of time. I'll show you and tell you quickly. In the 19th of February 1937, by the Condor Legion bombardment, with 150 deaths, with bombs of 50 and 250 kilos and firing bombs. There is, in Isaac Peral Street, there is a building. In this photo you can see 3 British brigaders, and we can see Frank Rayar, who was an Irishman, who comes here to Spain, he disappears, and he reappears afterwards en route towards Ireland. In that photograph, for example, in the Vera Elkan collection of the British Museum on the Spanish Civil War. We're not really sure whether it's Albacete or Madrid, but we've realized that on the background we can see the Bank of Spain building. So this work we're carrying on, and I would like to stop because Avelina Contratieva, with the fund of the Albacete department, research department, we can see the park and the monument in the Abelardo Sanchez Brigadier. I hope I can show you, and afterwards, if you have any questions, let me know. It's in French, because the first strugglers, the first volunteers arrived in October 1936, and when they left the station, they were singing La Marseillaise. They were a French contingent.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans les campagnes mugir ces féroces soldats? Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger nos fils, nos compagnes. Aux armes, citoyens, formez vos bataillons, marchons, marchons, qu'un sang impur.
Debout les damnés de la terre, debout les forçats de la faim. La raison tonne en son cratère, c'est l'éruption de la fin. Du passé, faisons table rase, foule esclave, debout, debout. Le monde va changer de base, nous ne sommes rien, soyons tout.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to tell you something. By the resolution of the City Council, it has been authorized to create a plaque with the name of brigaders in the place they are buried. Thank you very much.